Ugandan opposition politician Kizza Besigye has been rushed to a hospital after his health deteriorated due to a hunger strike he began last week, according to an allied lawmaker and local media reports. Besigye, a longtime critic of President Yoweri Museveni, has been in detention at a maximum security facility in Kampala since November. His legal team alleges that he was abducted in neighboring Kenya, where he had traveled, and forcefully returned to Uganda to face charges before the General Court-Martial, including illegal possession of firearms. Francis Mwijuki, a legislator allied with Besigye, disclosed on social media that the opposition leader was taken to a clinic at Bugolobi Village Mall under heavy security. He was being pushed in a wheelchair, Mwijuki stated in a post on Twitter late on Sunday. Ugandan broadcaster NTV confirmed the development, reporting that the medical facility was under tight security and quoting a family member who described Besigye's condition as critical. The opposition leader's health crisis has ignited public outrage, with many, including fellow opposition figure Bobi Wine and a medical doctors association, calling for his immediate release and unrestricted access to medical care. Anger escalated after Besigye's frail appearance in court on Friday, where he struggled to walk and could barely moisten his lips with his tongue. His lawyers warned last week that his health was rapidly deteriorating in detention. In response to growing pressure, Uganda's information minister, Kizza Besigye, announced on Sunday that the government was expediting the transfer of Besigye's case from the military tribunal to a civilian court. This move follows a recent Supreme Court ruling declaring the prosecution of civilians in military courts unconstitutional. The case has further fueled tensions in Uganda's political landscape, with opposition figures and human rights activists condemning what they perceive as government repression. As concerns over Besigye's health intensify, demands for his release and medical treatment continue to mount, putting additional pressure on authorities to act swiftly. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has defended President William Ruto against accusations that he sabotaged his bid for the African Union Commission chairmanship. Speaking at a dinner in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, after the elections on Saturday, Odinga said Ruto had done everything possible to support his campaign and should not be blamed for the loss to Djibouti's Mahamed Ali Yousaf. He dismissed speculation that the president had been insincere in his backing, emphasizing that Ruto provided all necessary logistical support and personally facilitated key meetings with African leaders. There will be a lot of blame games. I did not do much as expected. I am tired and too old. Ruto was not genuine in supporting me. Ruto did everything possible for this campaign. He gave me all the logistical support I needed and made my appointments to meet all leaders on the continent, Odinga told guests at the event. President Ruto, who was also present at the dinner, expressed disappointment over Odinga's loss, describing him as the best candidate for the role. He lamented that Africa had missed the opportunity to benefit from Odinga's experience, but added that he was still proud of the former prime minister's efforts. I regret that Africa missed an opportunity to be served by the finest of our continent, Ruto said. Nonetheless, Raila made me proud. Despite Odinga's stance, political figures back home have continued to blame Ruto for the defeat. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka claimed that the president's involvement in mediating the ongoing crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo created tensions with the Southern African Development Community, which then turned against Odinga's candidacy. Speaking during a church service in Kitui County on Sunday, Musyoka said, the 16-member SAD bloc had issues with William Ruto's leadership. This caused this terrible loss to the country. Raila's image was soiled by this loss. SADC supported Djibouti's candidate because of their problem with Ruto. Ahead of the election, SADC had initially thrown its weight behind Madagascar's Richard Randramandreda, further complicating Odinga's chances. However, in the final round of voting, Djibouti's Yousaf secured victory with 33 votes, meeting the two-thirds majority required to win. He now takes over from Chad's Moussa Faki, who has served in the position for 8 years. As the political blame game unfolds, Odinga has maintained that his defeat was the result of broader continental politics rather than any lack of support from Ruto. However, The discussions surrounding his loss continue to dominate political conversations in Kenya, with opinions divided on the role the government played in the campaign. Meanwhile, Djibouti has hit back at President William Ruto over his remarks following the election of Mahmoud Ali Yusuf as the new chairperson of the African Union Commission, defeating Kenya's Raila Odinga. The election, held during the AU summit in Addis Ababa, saw 33 heads of state vote in favor of Djibouti's candidate, a result that Ruto later described as a missed opportunity for Africa. In response, Djibouti's Director of Communication at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Moussa Mohamed Omar, dismissed Ruto's disappointment, calling his assessment dishonest. Omar argued that Africa had made the right choice by electing Yusuf and rejected the notion that the AU had been deprived of a better leader. He further suggested that the election was won on merit, not influenced by Kenya's internal political considerations. 33 heads of state chose Mahmoud, the right choice for Africa's challenges, refusing to let the AU be hostage to Kenyan domestic politics. Africa deserved better than Raila, he asserted. President Ruto, speaking after the results were announced, did not hide his frustration, insisting that Odinga was the best candidate for the job. "I am disappointed because Raila Amolo Odinga did not win, yet he was the best candidate. And I regret that Africa missed an opportunity to be served by the finest of our continent," Ruto said. Despite the outcome, he commended Odinga for running a strong campaign, praising his commitment and availability throughout the process. "Right on this AU chairmanship, Baba made me very proud. He was the best candidate we could put forward. He was available whenever I booked an appointment. He was there whenever he had to travel. He was there, whether it was early morning or late evening. He was present," Ruto added. The exchange of words between Kenya and Djibouti underscores the political and diplomatic weight of the AU Commission election. While Kenya aggressively lobbied for Odinga's victory, the overwhelming support for Yusuf suggests that many African leaders had a different diplomatic consensus. The results have also sparked discussions on Kenya's approach to continental politics and whether its strategy was effective in securing regional backing. Despite the loss, Ruto remained optimistic about Kenya's future role in African leadership, stating that Odinga's campaign had strengthened Kenya's diplomatic presence. "We will walk with our heads held high as we go back home to continue the journey of consolidating our country, our progress, and making sure that we drive into the future united and together," he said. With Yusuf set to take over as the AU Commission chair, focus will now shift to how he navigates the pressing challenges facing the continent.